So we are live right now?
Currently live.
We're currently live. What does that mean?
That works, but you can't change. You can't change it without telling anyone.
Oh my god, that's a great
And then expect
podcast
everybody
name.
to know.
Currently live?
Currently live.
Shit, that is a good podcast name.
Cancel
Rename this
piece
one.
of shit.
Bruce, give me the paperwork. I need to change.
All right. Sending the paperwork to you now.
Yeah. Welcome to a pseudoephedrine-laced bullet dude soup.
Poor guy.
Yeah, sick as fuck.
You give your body for these people.
All you sick assholes in Chicago rub it up on me. It's frustrating because I learned this lesson a number of times before, which is namely that binge drinking several days in a row and then shaking hands with hundreds of human beings.
We should know that by
And then
now.
just like cramming them into my eyes and licking them
do.
clean. Doesn't help. Doesn't work. Sorry. You were all very clean people. No, you're not.
How does it feel knowing that you went to Chicago, but you didn't even go to the Sakura karaoke bar, where when Bruce was singing, what was it? Not Uptown Funk.
Sweet Little China Girl.
Montel Jordan?
Montel Jordan, it was playing clips from anime basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
that's
which
right.
one? Slam Dunk or Hikaru no Basket?
I don't know.
Whatever. Wait. I made up the first word. It's something no basket. One of the people at the signing line at Let's Play Live Chicago had a anime basketball case.
Oh, that's right.
It was great
Oh,
because
yeah.
What do they think of
Lawrence was
Montel
like,
Jordan?
which one is that?
Well,
Is
yeah,
that
was
this
that
one or this
Slam
one?
Dunk?
And they
Slam
just
Dunk,
stared
that
at
was.
Lawrence.
No, it's not slam dunk.
There's another one?
It's an amazing moment when you meet a fan and then you talk to them for more than 4 seconds and you break the illusion and they go, oh,
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh,
Ew.
you were wrong. You were wrong.
God, you smell.
You're not attractive at
You're
all.
taller in real life, but that means nothing right now.
Guys, we got leaks.
Oh.
You ready for these leaks?
Should we finish insuring?
This?
Yeah, we
Sorry.
should.
What about
Yeah,
the
leaks
ads?
every day of my life.
How come
yeah.
Elise's wire, her microphone wire, is not going up underneath her dress?
I don't, because even the wire can't
She could-
can't bother to be under
Because
there.
then she could clip. We're using wireless
Yeah,
microphones.
Lawrence would constantly be wondering what the wire might be grazing against. Is it wedged between my labia?
Exactly.
We wouldn't be able to do the show.
Yeah, but then it keeps
Concentrate.
perfect tension. I wish I could do
This
that.
is just getting like a little, we're getting a little muff.
Oh,
Good muff on the, okay. Keep going.
oh my gosh.
I always thought it was weird at
You
weddings.
guys try that new edition? They had
So-
the demuffer.
So you know at weddings and they throw the flowers, it's like, oh, what a beautiful moment. And then they're like, now go up that woman's leg and grab that thing.
Oh,
and
the
then,
garter, yeah.
Yeah,
Firing
I
off.
remember being a kid and being like,
Yeah.
I'm not aroused by this, but I'm a little weirded out.
It's to represent
I'm
that
gonna
she's
go
your
jerk off
property
in the
now.
bathroom.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want to her. You can give parts of her away if you feel like it.
Yeah.
For our audio-only listeners, Lawrence is going to post some sketches online that you can reference.
I mean, I could do it now.
Oh, okay.
Already got 'em
He's
ready.
been doing them.
This Bowl of Dude Soup is brought to you by Blue Apron and Movement Watches. You can check out this week's menu, which we'll get to later. I do love reading food items. And get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/soup. And you can go to movementwatches.com/dudesoup for 15% off your purchase. That's mvmtwatches.com/dudesoup. All right, guys, we got a lot of PlayStation going on.
Yeah.
A little
Thank
good, a little bad.
goodness.
Well, maybe not bad, depending.
Should we finish introing ourselves?
Yeah,
Or is-
right.
I mean, people know us by voice.
No, I'm supposed
now, right?
to. I'm telling you, I'm doing it wrong every week on purpose.
No, it's
now.
okay. Oh, really? Oh.
I do
Go
I
ahead.
say that.
Introduce
every week.
Adam.
yourself.
I'm Muff Milson.
Oh,
I'm
Adam.
Richard Dixon.
I'm Bruce.
I'm Bruce 2. Number 2. I'm Bruce 2.
Always need a straight man.
I'm sorry.
And that's Lawrence.
That's me.
Lawrence.
I'm Lawrence. We'll see how my voice fares throughout the next hour or so, and going through the.
It's pretty amazing you got the PAX flu at Chicago.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
PAX is coming up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
no. I got my annual learning that I have to wash my hands and drink a lot of water. Somehow I forget these things.
Annual.
Especially when you drink
don't know.
alcohol.
A lot.
Then you get to drink more water.
Chicago's fucking awesome.
I've been trying to do a somewhat of a diet thing. We all went out the first night. I had 1 drink and I was sipping it ever slightly, and Lauren said, 3 drinks.
I was ordering for 2,
Hey, it's not every day we get to
which
drink
is myself.
Hunter.
And then
Hey,
my
remember that
girlfriend.
first place we went to?
Which one?
That distilled.
Distilled
Is that what
Chicago?
it's called?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that place was
The
Oh,
place
boy.
that didn't know how to give us
fantastic.
food.
Man, that was just an awkward experience
yeah,
altogether.
it was.
It took like an hour to get
So hold on a second,
so-
guys.
10 people in the
Let
bar.
me explain to you why I drink a lot.
Okay.
So this is a place called the Aviary.
Is that a clock or
Is that food?
That's all,
What is
it's
that?
everything.
It's food time.
They pour a cocktail inside this like crazy thing, and then they just leave it at your table, and
Okay.
it fucking.
So what you're describing
stews
is
and all that
it
stuff.
looks like a clock on a desk,
Check that shit
only
out.
instead of a face, they took out the face of the clock and they filled it with meats.
No, it's not meats. It's like fruits and
Fruits?
spices.
Yeah, it's
And then you sip out of that
Do you have
top
to
part?
inhale? Do you have to inhale the smoke?
Sort of. So that's a wood block, so they'll char it with a blowtorch, cap a cup over it to get all like the cedar smoke in there, and then they take the cup off and pour like cider in it, so you get this like warm, smoky cider.
Oh, okay.
Go back to that other one.
Yeah.
That looks like a celestial being's heart.
And I drank it.
His name is Lawrence.
It's like, I am Time Lord. I have peaches in my heart.
This is one of the most expensive things I've ever done.
Is Stephanie already talking about like trying to recreate some of this at home?
No, I think she appreciates that. Okay, there's the bag one. They serve you like a fucking cocktail in a sealed bag. And so I would expect that one to smell like smoke, except they'll like cut it and then like squeeze it at you, and it smells like warm, fluffy pancakes, and then you drink this
I
like...
can make that for you. Go to Canada, we'll buy some bagged milk.
Just
Put it out in the sun, yeah.
Closes it real quick.
There you go.
It was
Just
like when
leave
we
it
were in
like that.
Austin and we did vape shots.
Oh, sweet.
And then I
did 4 more.
It was great because I looked in the mirror and said, "We've arrived. It's the future."
Vape shots.
And then I got into my Tesla and I hit a small child.
So you had a lot of good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we have it. We didn't have it, but Bruce, Elise, and I and Bethany went to a place that had deep fried pigeon.
It was a
Deep fried
dim sum place.
pigeon.
What?
It basically, it had a bunch of like whole animals that they had skinned
Yeah.
entirely and then cooked.
Yeah.
And then they showed pictures of each.
Yeah.
And it was
It's like, here's us befriending the
Well,
animal.
it's weird. There's like a hen or something because there's pigeon, but then there's also like regular chicken or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Except obviously it still has the head, and they took a picture of it from up, right, and behind. But they still managed to make it so that way the eyeball was looking back at you. So it's kind of
That's
like
true. It was like that, yeah. It was
Like
great.
on here there. The only
think of
the only
deep
problem with
fried
that
rub?
restaurant, which is it had a leak in the ceiling,
Oh, yeah.
not unlike the PlayStation leaks.
Just oil.
What
Oh,
nice.
nice.
That
She's trying
way,
to
there
bring
you
it
go.
back
Let's
up.
bring back the,
I was wondering how long it would take. All right.
You want to talk about PlayStation?
I do.
Yeah.
people want to talk about Chicago food.
Where'd it go?
Actually, real quick, Bruce, do you own a PlayStation?
No, fuck no. I don't own a PlayStation. I can barely play my Xbox
right.
as it is.
Your
You're a
gamer's
big
got
fan,
those
but-
hot
Hey, it's
takes.
Barbara.
Oh, look at her.
Well, no, I want to talk about
Yeah.
PlayStation because I'm really.
Hold on, let's find out what's in Barbara's box.
I get really
It's a
excited about.
PlayStation Slim.
Oh, why is Barbara there? I get really excited about
should
like
take a
new
picture of that,
consoles
tweet it
and
to
stuff,
us.
even though I never buy them. So it
Yeah.
looks like they just chopped off the top half, right?
Not even half. It's
yeah.
not that much smaller.
Oh, it's not.
But
This-
the PS4 was kind of small to begin with.
This
so.
picture with its shallow depth of field, very, very shallow depth of field, makes it look like a Roku.
It
It
does
makes
kinda
it look
a
like
Roku.
it like would fit inside your index
not.
fingers.
It's definitely not.
There's other images though.
absolutely
Someone
not.
did one on top of like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
PlayStation 4.
Yeah, no,
right?
that's in here too.
I know, but I just thought
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I just thought that first image was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's
it's
it's not
sure.
very tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, and to be fair, the original PlayStation 4 is impressively compressed already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
My cat
it
knocked
can't
mine
get a
over
whole
the
lot
other
smaller.
day. The top that you know that lid people ask us to sign sometimes that fell right off.
Oh,
Yeah.
What a fucker.
I haven't
now you
I
have
haven't
to sign
turned
it.
I haven't turned it on since I was kind of disappointed with Uncharted.
Oh man, really?
Graphically amazing game, like beautiful, and then there was like a twist in it that I totally saw coming a mile away. And went,
Oh yeah.
well, that's what I was playing for.
It's a Hollywood movie.
I
I'm gonna
know.
finish. I'm at like chapter 12. And that's enough time for Uncharted.
I should.
Oh, you
finish
think it's
it.
too
Oh,
long?
you think we've done enough?
No, I mean, maybe I'll come back.
It's the
to
first
it.
Uncharted
guys.
I haven't finished.
But we need. Oh well, yeah. Same here, but I'm gonna get to it. We need some hot takes. What do you
Yeah.
guys think? Corners are rounded now.
Oh,
Hi.
Is this the? I'm more interested in the insides. Is this like the Neo thing where
No.
it is the? Oh, so
Same thing.
It's a
only
it's a
smaller
PS4.
parts.
it's just
Oh,
it's
wow.
the Xbox One S, right? Basically, it's
Except
the same.
that analogy almost works, except the One S is actually graphic or
faster, right?
hardware
Better.
different, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. They
so they didn't
overclocked the
change
graphics.
any of the insides for the PlayStation.
Theoretically, they haven't
What's
announced
the
it yet.
price? They don't know.
Also don't know. So there's that conference coming up on September 7th, which they were going to announce. They were talking about the quote future of the PlayStation business, and there's a lot of stuff that apparently they were going to talk about, but a lot of it's leaked already. So I guess to just run down everything, there's the PlayStation Slim. We assume they're going to talk about the Neo. The PlayStation blog leaked that PlayStation Now is coming to PC, which is fucking awesome. It's
pretty cool.
New controller and PlayStation Plus price increase. That actually already got announced.
The controller just looks exactly the same, except
Yeah.
a tiny little light bar on top of the touchpad.
Possibly. It's without holding it or
Without
using
holding
it.
it, yeah.
Maybe they change the buttons. Maybe they change the sticks. Like the Xbox One S controller feels different. It's got a different texture on the bottom. The sticks feel a little different. The guide button's a
Everyone
little
seems to
different.
really like. Most people seem to really like the PlayStation 4 controller.
Yeah, it's
Great controller.
It's pretty
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
Does
I
the
like-
Sorry.
Wait.
Does the Xbox does the Xbox One S controller have more traction? The
Then-
different texture on the bottom.
Yeah,
Does it
it's
feel
got a
like
little
more
bumpies.
textured?
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Me too.
It's
Yeah,
traction.
Well, you need to start playing with a mouse and keyboard.
well, that too. That's more important as well.
It was a weird thing. So Jess and I played Overcooked over the weekend, and I have a Steam, not a Steam Link. I have the NVIDIA Shield thing, but it does basically Steam Link. It does NVIDIA's game streaming thing, and I lined out all my controllers because I was trying to figure out what I could use. So the PlayStation controller will sync to the PC via Bluetooth.
Okay.
So I had that. I had 2 Xbox controllers with a wireless dongle, and then I also had like the NVIDIA controller, and then like another Razer controller. I'm like, which ones will sync? And I actually like the idea that it's almost becoming agnostic, where it's like
getting there.
you can just plug whatever you want into anything, and it just. Well, I mean, you can plug the. I know you can plug the PS4 controller into a PC, and it just works.
Oh yeah, that was another leak. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wireless PlayStation 4 dongle for PC.
Oh really?
cool.
But it's just a Bluetooth, right? Am I crazy? I don't know. Maybe I haven't.
It,
Maybe I've only got it to work
is Bluetooth.
plugged in.
I think you need to do some jostling with it to get it to work.
you have to download some
I
sort
think
of.
they
okay, there's
may
like
have
drivers
fucked that in a Windows update. I remember reading a little bit about that, but people may have fixed it already.
Gotcha. But it is kind of crazy how we've talked about this for years and years and years, where it's like it's all becoming the same thing. Like now you can stream your Xbox to your
it's
PC.
just platform holders.
And then PlayStation Now is going to be on PC, and then yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff.
OnLive was way ahead of its time.
It was actually.
So ahead of its time.
It was so ahead of its time. It
too
was
ahead of
not a
its
good service and not really worth the money.
man.
I really wanted it to work.
I
We
be a
all did.
trailblazer.
Yeah.
All right. Think about how much it must have sucked for the first person who traveled from the East Coast of the United States to the West Coast. Now it's easy because we use the Hyperloop. Just
teleport.
in the future.
We don't have that.
Shoot you out of a cannon. They put you in a little capsule and boom, they fire you with supersonic speeds.
I remember watching videos of autonomous cars. Think about how hard it was to push a wagon.
I think of Pioneer travel, and I would be dead in a day.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I cannot walk
You get
like
dysentery.
30 minutes.
There's a slight bump and you just
Yeah.
pass out due to stress and exhaustion.
Yeah, I mean, you hear wolves in the night. Suddenly, your family's just missing a child. Like, did we have a baby? I don't remember.
gotta
Who
make
are
a
we?
few
We
more.
didn't have a
killed it
child.
'cause
Don't
it
worry
was
about
weak.
We got to make a bumper crop. Just keep them popping out. So, hot takes. We got 2 USB ports on the front.
Whoa.
There are power and eject buttons now instead of touch panels.
I
like that a lot.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lesson that they have to keep relearning, which is weird. So this happened with the PS3 too.
Yeah.
It had touch panel, and then the Slim came out, or the slightly less monstrously fat, and it had actual buttons.
Yeah.
Same with the Xbox One S and the Xbox One. I don't get it, man.
Well,
What's
the-
people's obsessions with?
Well, it's got the 2 buttons. It's got the power and the eject, and they're above them. And they have the tiniest logo that you can't
Yeah.
see.
It's-
It's usually in a dark corner anyway, so you're like,
No, Polygon's here
you're
to
just
tell you
like,
which one does what.
It's design and engineering versus practicality. So I think I could totally see you getting into a meeting and go, we can hide the buttons
Yep.
right behind this little thing,
Some
and all you have to do
executive.
is, and then it'll turn right on or whatever.
The whole board goes, oh.
Except that no one
It's
in the
technology meets
boardroom,
minimalism.
or no one in the laboratory where they're testing it, like has a DVD of Speed Racer that falls over and hits it, and then the case opens and
You're
then
right.
it turns
Nobody
on.
has that DVD.
Yeah,
or like a,
but everyone at home.
yeah, but like
What about the housewife?
a squirrel will run into your home, fart a little bit, and then the whole thing shuts off.
Yeah.
And then your DVD comes out.
No.
How'd they know I own Speed
I
Racer?
think the assumption is always aesthetically that your evil wife isn't going to want this like piece of ostentatious buttoned hardware in your
wife.
home.
Yeah.
When
Like,
she's dusting.
We're all so
I can see the
evil.
Japanese board meeting where like, we all know about evil wife. And they're like, oh, yes. They're all looking out the window like,
scary.
And they all nod at each other. Oh, yes,
buttons hide from wife. Okay.
On the back, we got, I like how simple it is, especially compared to the Xbox One. There's power. I think that's a connector for PlayStation Eye.
Yeah.
Oh, or maybe for the VR. I'm not sure exactly which. HDMI network. That's it. Don't have no bullshit pass through. All that crap.
So James is the only one here who's actually done PSVR.
Oh yeah.
Fan? Not a fan?
Well, I was biased because I was playing a new Psychonauts game. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest VR, and it's the greatest experience of my life. But
At least
but
didn't we get married?
in terms of technical fidelity, it was
Yeah.
worlds apart. Like in the other direction from when we just use the Vive in the office
What
or
do you
when I
mean
use
worlds
Oculus.
apart?
Like you can see the pixels
Worlds better.
in each eye.
Resolution's
bad.
way lower
Yeah.
on PlayStation.
Like
Oh, of
it
course.
was yeah, definitely.
I think it's one of those things where it's like temper expectations. Sort of like when they first announced the PS4, I was like, it's gonna change lives. Look at the Order 1886. Oh my God. Graphically, this is the greatest game ever made. And then you play and go, Oh. Damn it.
From a
video game.
control standpoint, it was fine. It felt like I was looking in the world one-to-one
Sure.
and doing everything. There's a lot of stuff where you're like using telekinesis to pick things up and do that.
The
And so
problem
like
is-
all that was right on point, but then you see it.
The problem
eye.
when they do that is it has to run at a high frame rate, because if it's a low frame rate, your brain starts to
Yeah.
flip out and go, what the fuck? In order to do that, they have to have a lower resolution, so you're going to get that barnyard, what do you get?
It feels like
Screen
door.
It
That-
feels like
door.
you're
That's a different
looking into
effect.
two screens that are directly in front of your eyes, as opposed to just being in a world, which the other two major devices.
I'm just
take
saying,
away.
hats off to Sony for trying to make VR cheap and available for everyone, but there's a reason why it's going to be cheap and available for everyone, because...
I
just
think
not-
it'll be a good
technology's
entry
not there.
point.
Till Neo
I
comes
think
out.
it'll be like
Wait, no, that doesn't work.
I don't know, like getting a cheap Kia or
Yeah.
something.
Oh.
It's like it controls like a car. It gets me where I need to go.
You have to hold the dildos, right?
But it's not like driving. It's probably not
PlayStation
like
Move
controllers?
It's probably not like driving a
Tesla.
a Tesla or a high-class Mercedes or something like. Those are different driving experiences.
So ZRZ YouTube channel posted an unboxing video of the PS4 Slim, which has already been taken down. It's there if you want to find it. Obviously not going to play it for apparent reasons, but the interesting thing about that is there's retail packaged PS4 Slims already, and they got them somehow.
So that means probably on the 7th they're going to go,
Exactly.
and everybody gets one!
yeah, here's the price. All you nerds get one.
They
and
should.
go buy one
It
today.
should be cheaper, right? That's the whole point.
Hold on.
Maybe.
I was going to say, if Sony wants to take over the world, they do $400 for the Slim,
Yeah.
and then $300
For the older model.
the older model.
Clear out the inventory.
If they want to take over the world.
Typically, the way this stuff works
there.
is it doesn't have to be cheaper, because the reason they do hardware refreshes like this is because fabrication changes, so they can make the console for less money if they rejigger all the parts in there. Shouldn't say that, even though it doesn't mean what it sounds. So essentially, they can sell a PS4 and increase the margin even at the same price.
Sure.
And then, theoretically, we'll talk about Neo. So yeah, there you go. We got new hardware. I want to get
Can you
it.
scroll down one more
Really?
image?
Sure. I mean, I just.
Did you
This
get a...
person, they were working on someone else's time, because look, go up,
Oh.
5% left.
Whoa, wow.
5%, and he's prioritizing uploading images
They're on
to.
Tesco Wi-Fi, which is
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're riding the lightning.
soul.
Got to get this leak out.
Well, cool.
I just like buying plastic. I like buying gadgets. I
There,
like
there
hitting
is.
the buttons.
I know where people's minds are. It's that weird, funny thing where you already have a PlayStation. You're like, ooh, I'll
Yeah.
get a new one, because then you get that sense of like
It's new.
Yeah, it is a weird thing
And
that
you
we
are
as
current.
consumers, our brain does.
Pull the
we're like,
cellophane off it.
yeah, and then 45 seconds will go by and go,
Oh, it's the same thing.
the fuck did I do? Why? It doesn't do anything different.
I would not
That smell.
purchase this. I'll just say it now.
We already have a PlayStation.
I have a PlayStation, but if I was in the market for one now and it didn't have one, I just get the Neo. Like, save the
Oh, you
few
wait?
extra dollars. Wait.
Wait for
like,
the newer one.
or that you're right that the previous model is going to drop. Just
yeah.
just get that. There's
Well,
no
what if
difference.
what if the Neo is a year away and costs $600-700?
I was going to say the Neo's probably pretty far away, at least from what I've been able to deduce
Once you're
from
talking
all
about
these.
like $700 territory, I know this is always the thing where it's like, oh, just buy a PC, but it's like you could build it for that much, and then you kind of have to know what you're doing a little bit, and then things break.
How about
Yeah.
this? I only buy Microsoft consoles because Microsoft's the best. Sony can suck my balls.
Whoa, fighting
There.
words.
That's the thing that
That's
kind of
why.
tugged at me is the Xbox One S supports HDR, I think it's called, and then also runs a little better depending on the game and where it's bottlenecked. So that one did kind of like, I could feel my wallet vibrate a little bit.
It upgraded.
But I'm an adult. I can squash that. But still, I want it. I do.
Yeah.
It's there.
Well, you have one.
I know.
In your apartment, so
know.
you're what you're debating is getting a second one.
Well, I just want to
It's-
throw it out there that Sony can do no wrong, and everything they do is great, and they could just shit on my neck, and
No,
I'd
Adam.
be happy with that.
They did a terrible thing, which I'll get to in just a second.
Oh.
They did the worst thing, the most terrible thing. And actually, that plays
They
into
did a divorce thing?
going over to PC too. No, they're making PlayStation Plus more expensive.
Yeah.
Hi! But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, I think I played about 10 minutes of Uncharted Online and went, moving on. Like, that, I don't know why I played
PlayStation.
I still pay for PlayStation Plus, just stop.
It's like
Towards
$8
the
for
end
plus
of the
one?
PS3 life cycle, PlayStation Plus was the greatest thing in the
was
world,
great.
though.
They had
Man,
some
they
great
gave
games, yeah.
away so many free. Oh, not free, but for the monthly price, they gave away
watch it
so
on
many
Netflix.
good,
It's
good
free that I
games.
pay monthly
So
for.
many good games. That's why I revised it because it's not free.
Yeah.
But like so many good games, and I played a ton of games I would have never played otherwise through PlayStation Plus, and it was awesome. And I don't even check it anymore.
I'd also maybe argue that because the PlayStation 3's popularity really ramped up toward the end of its life cycle, like that console definitely picked up steam after like games like Metal Gear and that came out. I would say that a lot of those games that people
Little
didn't
Big
play during the beginning of its life cycle came to PS Plus, so then people were catching up.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's awkward at the beginning of a console generation. But what's not awkward is getting food in the mail and then prepping it for a delicious meal.
He's right.
Yeah, thank you.
By
This
golly,
podcast
he's right.
is sponsored by Blue Apron, which will mail ingredients to you along with recipe cards, and then you can take those ingredients and make them into food. Pretty fucking awesome. This time, I guess I'll focus on the fact that all Blue Apron food is all Blue Apron food is like ethically sourced. So they say that their seafood is sourced sustainably. Wait, sourced sustainably.
You got it.
That's rough. Under standards developed in partnership with the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch, their beef is raised humanely, their chicken raised free range, and pork is raised naturally.
They raise pork in an aquarium?
Yeah, aquatic pork. It's delicious.
Sounds good.
And they use regenerative farming practices for produce. So basically, depending on how much you read into the food industry and how many documentaries you may have seen, there are some issues with particular people's diets. Not necessarily a health factor, but more in the fact that food is an industry and money is starting to become a very dominant player, especially in the fact that certain genetically modified stuff can get copywritten. So then a company can own corn, which is a weird concept, but
The band.
It says zero, though. Oh, there you go.
not necessarily that this does with
Jonathan.
that, because that has more to do with GMOs and things like that.
Jonathan
But it has to do with Mother Earth. So food takes a toll on this planet. Blue Apron promises that they're doing their part to reduce that. And they say because Blue Apron ships the exact amount of each ingredient for a required recipe, they're reducing food waste, which is something I've certainly done before whenever I cook. You never buy things in the exact portion you need them, so you end up with a lot of potatoes that just go bad. Or you get really good at using all the bits in another recipe, which is a whole other layer of skill that I never really learned on. And the food is delicious. So this week we've got spiced pork burgers with goat cheese and cucumber corn salad. Ooh. We have summer vegetable and quinoa bowl with fairy tale eggplants, shishito peppers, and corn. Ooh. And chicken tinga tacos with summer squash and tomato salsa.
Chicken tinga taco.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's fun to say and fun to eat.
Oh my god!
So you can check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/soup. They promise you'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. I've had a great time with it. Full transparency, I got a couple of weeks free, but I've been paying for it ever since. So that's blueapron.com/soup. Once more, blueapron.com/soup. Cooking's fun, food's delicious. You should enjoy both. Plus you get to cut things. I love knives.
We've got a Blue Apron story, actually.
Oh, let it rip.
We've been really wanting to try it. We're just trying to pick that like perfect week to try it when like we don't have anything else going on. We're not out of town. And we see a Blue Apron box at the front of our apartment complex. And we're like, oh, cool. The next day, the box is still there.
Oh.
And we're like, oh my God, this Blue Apron box is still there. Next day, it's still there. James and I were like creeping around like the fawn from like Pan's Labyrinth. Like, what is this box? Like, do we take this box? It's just sitting there. I don't know what happened to the Blue Apron box, but we were like worried for the proprietors.
People who
of this
ordered
name
it
on
probably took it.
Well, no, the name on it was not anyone that lives in our building, and there was no apartment number.
You know everyone's name who
You
lives in the
can
building?
look, you can cross-reference
Yeah.
it with the
You
directory.
guys did a lot of work on this.
Well, the thing is, packages come all day, every day, and you have to check it. No, it's not my package.
Right,
No,
yeah.
it's not. So you kind of get to know everyone's name, and also everyone that lives in our apartment, other than Dan and Julie, are Asian. So like, there's literally someone named Strongbao, but it looks like
That is a
Strong
really
Bad.
cool- that's a
Name of a
cool
drink.
It looks like Strong Bad when you read it. Strong Bad. But they're like, this is not a name that I've ever seen before, and then you just checked it. I was like, I don't recognize it. And there's no apartment number, because sometimes if I see something, I'll be like, I'll take it, put it by their door so it doesn't sit out there.
Good neighbor.
There's no one on the directory with that name, so we were like, this food's just gonna go bad sitting out here. We're doing everyone a favor.
We're
by
sweating,
eating
we're
this.
creeping.
Yeah. I think this is from an episode of Friends.
Did you guys take it or what?
No, we
It
didn't.
eventually was taken.
Okay.
It was taken eventually.
It was taken, but
Should've taken the
there's
food.
whatever's left in there is probably no good
It's
anymore.
like black. Yeah.
Yeah, no good.
Well, yeah. So you have to pick up the box and put some of the ingredients in your fridge.
Yeah,
That's,
your
I
Blue
guess, a
Apron
catch.
experience won't
But it
be
does
like
ship
that.
with like ice packs and stuff, keep everything fresh. But on to getting fucked, just absolutely fucked. Sony's
me
raising
about
us up and fucking us again. PlayStation price is going up on certain plans.
Thank you for the reminder. I need to cancel mine.
Yeah.
I think I paid for it up front.
still
too.
have it?
I paid for it twice on accident because this is a problem I've had on both Xbox One and PlayStation 4. When you buy something, there's no splash screen to say, congratulations, that was bought.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of times I've bought something and then I'll go back to the previous screen and only go back into the game and it's not showing up as purchased. And especially when it comes to buying PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, you never really know if you're up on your subscription or if Xbox Live or PlayStation PSN recognizes that.
Yeah.
So it's like, did it go through? Did it not? You're looking at your bank statement and it's not there. And I'm like, I guess it didn't work. And then I bought it again. Like, bang, bang. There's 2 of them.
Eek.
Well, I guess I'm paid up until 2018 on PlayStation Plus. Thanks, Sony. But so it's going at $10 for the yearly plan. Monthly price in the US is staying the same. Monthly plan is going to $12 Canadian. Let's see here. It's $25, $30 Canadian, respectively.
Is it going up in the US at all?
Yeah. The yearly plan is going up to $60 instead of $50. So I think it's got parity with Xbox Live now.
Oh, I see.
I
Man,
think. Let me make sure.
Some of these pricing schemes for this stuff, I'm sure they've done a lot of like financial.
They make it so it's not easy to make equivalences in your head.
It really
it's
is.
like Funhaus
It
tickets.
really is terrible. It's really, really terrible. I hate it.
No, they make
what
it that
kind
way.
of monster would pay $25 for 3 months when they could pay for 6 months and get 12 months?
Wait, what?
$25.
What he's saying is,
$25
That's
for
for
3
3
months.
months,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. $25 for 3 months. If you
Oh.
double that, you get 12 months. But if you double that, you get 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, so for
Yeah.
It's
Well, the-
only a little bit more.
I
That's
see.
because they're trying to get you to be in
yeah.
it longer.
right for Xbox Live, for example,
They have to run billing
I
less
pay
often.
monthly, and I shouldn't pay monthly because
yeah,
I've
that's bad.
had it for like a year and a half or whatever.
But you never know when the heat might be around the corner.
Bingo, and I always want to be like, well, I can cancel it at any time, and that's I know it's one of those
No,
things.
but
they-
it's like Netflix doesn't do that crap.
Oh,
no, they do.
It's
you're
all
right, they
monthly?
don't. Yeah.
It's just monthly. They just figure out how much it costs monthly, and then they hope you forget that you have it. Like
Well, these are actually a better value proposition than Netflix because Netflix, if they offered the same pricing scheme, they'd give you a whole year for $60-$70.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
then at that point,
Well-
at that point, Netflix is charging you more.
Netflix you use every single day.
Absolutely.
This is you paying a price so that way you can access a library of things that you can pay for.
Yeah,
or
no,
do
Yeah.
multiplayer in the thing.
I'm sure though it's also like there are children using this service, so someone can go into a GameStop and buy a 3-month card
That's
for their
the thing.
child to use.
It does make it more open to gifting.
That's even like man.
It's an add-on sale to a
the
console.
worst thing that I've never done auto renew with Xbox Live for as long as I've been a member of Xbox
And
Live.
they try to get you on it every time.
Because you can find cards. So Best Buy will sell a card that's like $10 less than the auto renew price, and it's like so I'm paying less for a physical item, something that has a carbon footprint, as opposed to just having my credit card just charged every single month for a reasonable price. I hate these pricing schemes. I hate them.
Well, okay, so I'm not a big fan either, partially because, PC for life, where multiplayer is free forever.
Yep.
Also partially because Sony's already making a fuckload of money digital. So nothing about their online service was hurting in terms of profits at all. In fact, it was exactly the opposite. Basically every quarter they report that they're making more and more money from digital sources. So this is from MCV Pacific, but it's from Sony's global revenue reports, their most recent quarter.
I love the fact that when Sony first was coming out with their console, they were kind of pandering to the offline crowd of like, this is how you trade your disc, blah, blah, blah. And they're making a fuck ton of money online.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, gee, I wonder where all the money's at. Yeah.
Well, let's see here.
I'm saying don't be surprised if there's an online-only version of the Sony console at some
Well,
point.
it's PlayStation now, right?
It's probably gonna be Neo. Neo will probably have to be online.
Yeah.
Oh boy, you think? Yeah, I think they learned their lesson with Xbox One, but we'll see.
Maybe.
So
I don't know. It's like the weird thing where like they didn't talk about Destiny so much as being online only. Then when it came out, they're like, you need an online connection. We went, oh well, I guess I need an online connection. But yeah, people just be kind of
There was
forgive
always the
them.
old witch's tale that Sony had been planning for like online only, and then saw the reaction
Yeah.
to the Xbox One announcement,
And
and
they
then
stopped.
Yeah.
Someone's
heard that.
scary wife gave him some sort
An
of
evil wife.
What's the list on the side that
Yeah.
has the Heavy Rain Beyond Two Souls collection?
top 10 chart, all
Oh,
platforms.
the IGEA type.
In Australia.
It's probably just by search traffic.
oh.
That's
I
only
don't know what
Australia.
IGEA is, but so here are the specific numbers.
Can we just, man, I don't want to pay
I'll
for
get to it eventually.
I don't want to pay for it, but I just want to have that disc, the Two Souls collection, and I just want to destroy it. I want to put it in a microwave, and then I want to throw the microwave off a cliff.
Soon, my friend. Actually, that'd be a pretty cool video. So this is from the article here. Sony has revealed revenues from its game and network services division have increased by 14.5% last quarter. Division operating income was also up 126%, with strong growth across software sales, with digital a standout. Gaming now accounts for 78% of Sony's total business, with overall profits falling 42% and revenue down 10.8% on the back of diminishing smartphone and semiconductor sales. So that division of the company is making more money than the rest of it.
The PlayStation 4 is keeping Sony alive.
And they're raising the price of PlayStation Plus. So
Makes sense.
for me, it makes sense. You know, it's business, but I typically don't make this argument because I pretty much believe that there are no feelings in the world and corporations exist to make all the money they can. But to me, this kind of smacks of they put services behind a paywall, and once you're in that and you enjoy that ecosystem, you can't leave. You can't. So, like you guys were saying, if a lot of the games you played are tied up behind a PlayStation Plus subscription, or you like playing with your friends, you have to keep paying whether or not they raise the price.
Of course.
And then at that point, it's kind of reminding me of like data carriers, how thank God it's getting away from this. It's getting a little more network agnostic, but for a while, carriers would lock down phone hardware to their network. And so if you wanted to use that hardware, you had to pay whatever rates they wanted.
That was the iPhone.
Yeah, the AT&T iPhone thing, absolutely.
I bet there's a lot of people who are still on AT&T to this day because they got an iPhone, the first one, and they don't even think about it. I remember I was talking to one of our friends. We were at dinner and she had a Nexus 6P. She bought it because like her friend was like, "Oh, get it, it's a great phone." I'm like, "Who's your carrier?" She's like, "I'm on Verizon." I'm like, "How much are you paying?" She's like, $110, $120 a month. I'm like, "Why aren't you on Google Fi? It's like $20 a month, and then like with data, it ends up being like 40." She goes, "What? Who?"
Nobody knows what that is.
And I was like, I'm like Google Fi. I'm like, you have one of the only phones that can actually use Google Fi. And she went, I don't know these things. I just go to work. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny because Google Fi is the flip where the carrier dictates the hardware, except they're not fucking you up the ass then after. They're like, you don't have to use, like they're telling you what you have to use, but then they're not like molesting you.
I go over every month on Google Fi.
So do I.
And I still spend
it's
way
the same
less.
rate either way. That's the
that's
great
the
thing.
best part.
Well,
It's just there as kind of a gatekeeping thing for you. They send you
Yeah.
a nice little email every month, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
$10
I'm
more bucks
still
all day.
paying like well under $50 a month for like however many gigs of data I use, and it rolls over. And then like their customer service is actually pretty damn good. I had to deal with them because I sold my old phone, and I just bought the bigger version of Nexus 5X, and they were like English speaking and very nice. I was like, they called me like all hours of the day, and they were like alert and awake, and they weren't stoned. I was like, this is a first.
Well, so
cool.
That's an extremely powerful argument because basically what you're saying is competition makes things better for the consumer, but that could work, except Sony then has a powerful reason to try and keep things not agnostic. So on Fi, you can use hardware on a number of different networks, and that's how they can compete with carriers that basically have locked everything down. And there's a couple of stories going around about how Microsoft is trying to open up matchmaking. You know, they opened it up between PC and Xbox, and they're like, Sony, it's up to you if you want. The problem is, if you can play across both platforms and play the same game on both platforms, then suddenly Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, and to a lesser degree PC are all direct competitors for the same service, which means something that's free on PC is nearly identical to something that costs $60 a year on console. So it's in their interest to not allow that to happen, to make it as a walled garden as possible.
Well, I mean, this is just good business, though. They sold 40 million PlayStation 4s at this point, and it's just like Netflix, because right now Netflix, there are no competitors. I know there's like Hulu and Crunchyroll
Crackle.
and whatever else,
Voodoo.
and whatever else that nobody else uses.
Go night.
Bruce Voodoo.
But with Netflix, once you get locked into Netflix, and like James said, you watch Netflix every single day, you can't stop. You have to be like, all right, well, I guess I'm paying $10 a month now for Netflix
They
every
keep
single
making
month.
Narcos.
More and more narcos.
Is
every
there any
time.
Narcos?
Well, and it's the same with this. Like, if there are 40 million PlayStation 4s in the world, and people are playing one game a month or whatever on PlayStation, they gotta pay the extra $10 a month or whatever it is for PlayStation Plus, because they're like, well, I use the system almost every day. I got to do it.
Well, they're targeting people with disposable income who go to work every day and they come home and they play like an hour of Uncharted and then they're done for. Or like, oh, No Man's Sky, this looks interesting. I'll check this out online. And then like, they're not really worried about the like savvy consumers who are
not at
like
all.
millennial types who will go like they're charging me $4 more a year. Canceled. Like Sony's not interested in you.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
also, I mean, like Bruce was saying, this is their their bread and butter now. Like their console division is what's keeping Sony afloat. So of course they're going to find these small incremental ways to like keep pushing that revenue stream. Like
It's really smart.
This might not seem too noticeable to people that are like relatively upper middle class, I guess, and it doesn't necessarily affect them. I had a question. Does PlayStation Plus auto renew? Did we establish if it does?
Mine did.
Depending.
So do we know if like this price change it will prompt
It kicks
you?
in next renewal.
It
I don't know
said
if
at
it
the
warns
bottom.
you though. That's a good.
I'd look
good
in the
point.
bottom. It said right at the bottom somewhere. It said,
Please be
at
sure
the
to
very
cancel
bottom of
auto
that top.
turning off
There you
auto
go.
renewal.
So they're assuming that if you aren't aware of this, it's just going to auto renewal and then charge you that additional $10 or
Well,
whatever.
it was just like Netflix. They sent out an email. It was like, it's going from $8 to $10 a month. If you don't want it, cancel.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want it, and just let it renew.
Yeah, I just wish. I know it's harder because, like Elise was saying, they came in at the end of the PS3 life cycle, but the games that are on there are like.
They put out Fury pretty recently, which was I thought a pretty cool.
But they don't need to make you happy anymore. They've sold 40 million
Yeah,
PlayStation
I know.
4s.
They're not trying to get people into PlayStation Plus because they've already got people, which honestly makes the service worse. It's kind of like when Xbox Live was like, oh, we should give away free games too. Halo 1. Okay, it's a great game. Thanks.
The Maw,
Adam's
we
all-
got
it's a great
the
game.
Maw.
Oh yeah, the Maw.
Yeah.
That was we played that whole game. I guess we got our money's worth, even though it took 45 minutes.
It took a bit for them to finally get like good games because I do remember it was like, if you pay monthly for this, you're gonna get some really nice trash. And it was just sort of like, I don't want your scraps.
Well, I always assumed that was for kids who didn't have jobs, which sounds condescending, and I know that's kind of my thing, but no, it's more like when I was 10 or 12, I would have killed for 2 games a month on a service. And if
But
my
if you don't
allowance
have
can
the
just
choice,
go to
kinda
that.
sucks.
Well, yeah, you don't have a choice, but that's better than nothing, which is what I got. So whatever. It's either the 3 games I got at Christmas all year, or I get 2 games and a year of PlayStation Plus, so I play those 2 games and whatever garbage they serve me, but that's better than nothing.
Son, you can get 2 free games. You have no choice. A month, or I can beat you. What do you want?
2 words for you, Lawrence.
Hard as the beating.
Sega Channel.
Stella View,
Remember that?
Vision of the Future. No, I didn't have that.
Yeah,
no
neither
one
did
did.
I. But that was free games. Free games. All you had to do was
What are
pay
you
a little
talk-
bit per
what are you
month.
talking about?
Sega Channel.
It was a
man.
modem that would download games.
There's a modem that downloaded games.
Sega
It's the OG
was very
Xbox Live.
tech aggressive.
Wait, was that
hilarious.
Dreamcast or
Genesis.
Genesis.
Yeah.
That was Genesis?
Yeah.
Slash Mega Drive. Yeah.
That's why the Genesis is the greatest gaming console of all time.
It is.
Oh, depending on how far back you want to go, Nintendo had those fucking discs that for the Famicom. This is only in Japan. This is nerdy shit, but it was basically a 3.5-inch disc, and you would take it to a kiosk at a store, and it would write a demo or a game on there.
Oh, wow.
That was your thumb drive idea.
That's what I thought people were going to do because of download speed, but thankfully Google, Fiber started happening, so then Comcast and Time Warner were like, shit, okay,
There's
internet's
preloads
fast
and
now.
things like that.
And there's no caps, which is people at least the U.S. I don't know. Yeah, it was always funny. I remember my friend had a Dreamcast. I couldn't afford one, but he had me come over and he was showing me like Code Veronica, and he's like, and if I wanted to, I could order pizza on my console. I was like, let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, hold on. I was like trying to order it.
Browser's
Also, he's like,
garbage.
just need to put in my address.
Yeah. I think it took like 45 minutes, and
bet.
he finally got then the thing crashed. And so he just called like Pizza Hut, and he's like, cancel. I want a pizza.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, so
Future, man. It's great.
someone had mentioned that, and I can't remember who said it, but it was talking about how PlayStation Now is trying to get more users, or could potentially get more users. That's what PlayStation Now coming to PC is all about, right? So you sell them a wireless dongle, something that's a little easier than pairing Bluetooth. It's just like a thing with a button on it, and then you sync, and that's it. And then you have PlayStation Now on PC, which is, I can only assume is behind the PlayStation Now paywall, or PlayStation Plus paywall.
So you probably like $10 a month for
Yeah.
PlayStation Now.
I didn't even think about this because PlayStation Now, I think there's a way to get to work on Android, and you can run Android on PC.
Is that from like the Xperia?
It was because they had PlayStation Now working. I totally forgot about this, but yeah, you could do
PlayStation branded phones.
Yeah, that was it, and it was like you could only use it on Android versions of Sony, but people figured out how to like hack the APK, and they're like, yeah. So, and I totally forgot you can run an Android emulator, so you can probably already do it now. But now I'm sure they're just like, we'll just
It's
take out
easier.
that extra
Just
step.
plug and
Yeah.
play.
Nobody does what you're saying.
No, exactly.
Not
Yeah,
even
very,
you, not
very.
even you do that.
Very small. I wouldn't.
Yeah, and you stream everything to everything.
Yeah,
Kind of. I'm getting. It's nicer because I've moved into a smaller apartment. It's at my last place. It was a 2-bedroom, and we had the router like in the office or whatever. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, I could be like half a mile down the street and I'll get a signal. Being in the next room with a wall in the way, for whatever reason, Wi-Fi is like looking around the corner going, I don't know.
Are you not getting in the
We
bathroom?
didn't predict the wall.
Sometimes the bathroom would be fine.
Oh, that's the worst though.
When you're trying to jerk off?
Yeah, when you're trying to masturbate.
Okay, gotcha.
I thought
You gotta like,
gonna say poop,
you gotta like
but-
hold it
Yeah,
up
I
to
know.
the door in that one sweet spot where it'll
Yeah.
load up, and then you
You
bring
get
it back.
Jess to hold it for you. You're like, stand right over there, honey. I'm trying to jerk off.
And look at me. Actually, look at me.
Yeah.
Now stop.
And
now look
I'm-
at me again.
Now I'm done.
Yeah.
Clean me.
Yeah. Just throw tissue over your shoulder and walk away. With a warm towel this time.
That's what your wives are for. Helping you
She's so
jerk off.
evil.
Clean up my sad jerk off.
Well, if you've been timing yourself for the what's it called? When you jerk off and you have to wait until you can come again.
The
refractory
refractory
period.
If you're timing your refractory period out,
AKA my whole life.
if you want to maximize your pleasure when you're at home alone,
I do.
you want to make sure you get a watch from Movement Watches. That way you can know it's been 15 minutes and 45 seconds. Time to get back in that bathroom. Yeah, you can be ready to go. You can
I don't know which one we
you can give it the limp wrist.
What if you get fluids in the watch?
What if you get food in the watch?
Fluids.
Fluids.
Oh, well, there's some specs on mine, so I can only assume that it can withstand a good splashing. The big thing about Movement is it's cheap and it looks good. It's the two things you could ever ask for. It does not get you PlayStation Plus subscription, so that's kind of a bummer, but maybe they can work on that. But they say it's classy design meets styled minimalism, which is something I always appreciate. It's clean colors. It's not super gaudy. It's just a nice clock face. Pretty simple. It tells you the time, presuming you know how to read a watch hand. I didn't mean that condescendingly. It's just like people. There's no reason to anymore.
I wasn't offended.
Okay, good.
That's
Thank
how
you.
you look at Adam when you said that.
Sorry,
That
Adam.
was strange.
Movement watches have tons of interchangeable bands and color schemes, so you can match whatever your wardrobe is or whatever your style may be. I love black and red, so I'm really lucky that I got this one. They say with genuine leather or steel bands and the 3-hand quartz movement and stainless steel casing, delivers classic watches for a price anyone can afford. It starts at $95, but you can get any watch that they sell for 15% off by going to Movement Watches. Let's see, let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, movementwatches.com/dudesoup, and that'll cut 15% off your entire order. So once more, that's MVMT, and that's how they do movement. MVMTwatches.com/dudesoup for 15% off your entire order. Man, I guarantee you the watch period of your life will be the classiest one you've ever had. I wore watches when I was in college, and I never felt classier. And then it's been nothing but
Nothing but
dumpster.
class?
Yeah, nothing. Well, I lost it, and it's just been terrible ever since.
Oh.
But now, back on top.
Everyone's the best version of themselves when they're in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's a fact.
I most
Science
definitely
proved
was
it.
not.
Yeah,
Science proved it.
the better version of me is 80 pounds heavier, apparently.
There's Spider-Man. Keeps reminding me of the fact that I read 2 volumes of Spider-Gwen this weekend.
Nice. The new, which run? Because there's a couple.
So she's in a band
What?
called the Mary Janes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's in a band with Mary Jane that's named
Okay,
after her.
I thought it was like
Jane's
Ma-
kind of an egotistical.
I assumed Mary Jane was dead, and then she was like, I was like, that's. But then I remember it was Gwen Stacy who died, and
Yeah, it's awesome.
yeah,
It's great.
comics
Gwen-
are great.
Yeah, Spider-Gwen is pretty fantastic.
It's exactly what needs to happen to more comics, where they just, it's not like necessarily a gender swap. It's like a new reality where like a butterfly effect sent a bunch of things changing about the world, but then that way you don't have to like think of a new character, but you can also take the themes and stuff. I've been saying it for a long time. Comics need to do what Power Rangers does.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Same
Power
themes
Rangers
were
has
retold.
like a format for all of their seasons. And then
Some of the better ones do that,
But
yeah.
then they'll just be like, okay, well this one's over, so that way they can close out the story, and then they'll start a new one. But you kind of expect all the themes to be the same and like character traits to be similar, but it's not the same
a
characters.
lot of good comics.
what
like that.
happens
As
in,
opposed to dragging out Peter Parker's life for 1,000 years
when
and
Marvel
then
did
having
the
him become
Ultimate
Dr.
series,
Octopus.
that was essentially the same thing, right?
Yeah. New
Like,
52.
But even that, but the problem was that the Ultimate series then went on too long, and they were like,
Oh,
oh well,
yeah.
we have to kill Peter Parker and make
Yeah,
him
you're
Miles
right.
Morales. Just start it over. Just call it. Just do a new
Right,
thing.
Bruce?
Right?
It's awesome. You should really read it.
Right?
I recommend it to everyone.
I've heard
those
that Gwenpool is actually pretty good, and you guys know how I feel about gender swapping and its laziness.
Oh, Gwenpool?
Well, but I think isn't Gwenpool the same thing as Spider-Gwen?
It essentially is,
presupposes
yes.
a universe where
So is Gwen's Deadpool?
She said,
Why is
yeah.
Gwen everything?
This is
Why
from
is she
Long Play
Spider-Man
Archive.
and Deadpool?
Who cares?
because Gwen Stacy was an underrated, awesome
boy.
character
Oh,
in the
man.
Marvel
That is dark.
universe that didn't get enough credit.
I
for
wear
being
this
awesome.
headband to pay tribute to Gwen
Tribute
Stacy. Tribute to
to
Gwen
Gwen
Stacy.
Stacy.
You mean
love
Bryce
video-
Dallas Howard?
Yeah.
Yeah, the perfect version of her. Yeah, she actually wasn't terrible. I mean, think about Spider-Man 3, Bryce Dallas Howard was not the worst part of it.
Oh,
She was,
no, not at
It
all.
almost seemed like she was standing there going like, everyone around me is crazy and horrible, and I don't want any part of this world. My favorite scene in the whole thing is right after the worst scene of the movie, where Spider-Man dances because that's what bad boys do. And then
you wanna get
Spider-Man's
fired
like,
from a
ta-da!
job, yeah.
And she's like, you're weird and this sucks, and then leaves.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember I was working at a job. There was a tech guy who worked there. This was around the time Spider-Man 3 came out, and he's the nerdiest comic book guy I've ever met. He was an awesome, cool dude. But I remember every Tuesday he just had a stack of comics. He goes, "Oh, good, they've arrived," and he would read all of them.
Yeah.
And he was up on everything. And I remember being like, Venom's going to be in Spider-Man 3. I'm pretty excited. And he goes, "Venom's dumb." And I'm like, how dare you?
told you.
I'm like, Venom's great. And this is my memory of like the 90s cartoon that they made that was
Yeah.
pretty bad with that
Yeah.
horrible song. Play that intro. That thing's terrible.
All right.
The Spider-Man.
I'm not gonna do it.
It sounds like a robot trying to kill itself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then they did the whole Venom storyline on there, and I'm like, Venom's great. And I remember the comics being like, Lethal
that was pretty
Protector,
sweet.
he's great. Early stuff, and there's like, it's like you read Venom, he's really dumb. And I'm like, no, they're gonna do him awesome in the movie. I saw the movie, I'm like, wow,
Oh,
Venom's
man.
dumb.
Well, I mean, the movie version of Venom was
Venom
not
comic
good.
books are awesome.
Venom can be really cool.
He can be when he's a giant hulking
Because
mass.
he is a
That's scary.
reflection of Spider-Man. He's what happens when Spider-Man doesn't care about great responsibility.
Yeah.
Or Gwen Stacy.
It was funny. I knew about Carnage only from the game Maximum Carnage because I didn't. Being a kid, I could not afford comics, so I'd just read whatever was at 7-Eleven.
Oh, really?
And then before they asked me to
Drain.
kick out, or they kicked me out because I shouldn't be there.
They got a little ad
I
there.
can sign into YouTube Red on this computer.
It's okay. It's fine. Man,
Shocker, Doc Ock. This cartoon was great.
it was. They reused a lot of animation.
They made him Hydro Man instead of Sandman for some reason.
They also had
Sandman was
Sandman
in it too.
Yeah.
Sure.
I like
Sweet
when Adam,
CG
I like when
landscapes.
Adam pulls back the veil of my childhood.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this really sucks. Oh, they reused a lot of animation here. That theme song sucks.
Well, during the whole Venom storyline, I remember they reused the same animation of him swinging it over and over. I remember being Ken going, I wonder why they did that.
Well, I used to watch this cartoon and go, man, Felicia Hardy's awesome in this. Way cooler than Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Why? Like, there's a point in the series where it's like, I'm into Mary Jane. Why even bother? Until I realized that it's because they took a bunch of attributes from Gwen Stacy and combined her into
yeah.
Felicia Hardy. And then made it the
I
same.
was
Also,
kid-
her boobs got bigger when she turned into Black Cat.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, her whole thing too is she uses the same serum as like Captain America, which is kind of cool.
Oh.
Because they were doing like early Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff back then, but they would just kind of tickle your butthole a little bit, not enough. So like they did the X-Men cartoon, and there's one part where Wolverine's like talking to Morph or something like that, and then he flashes as Deadpool for a split second. I was like, oh, they're going to do Deadpool, oh my God.
yeah.
And then nothing ever came of
Yeah.
it because they just thought Deadpool was a cool looking character at the time. Instead of,
Spider-Man.
Speaking of Wolverine, you guys see Hugh Jackman shaved off his sideburns.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's it.
End of an
Retired the
era.
birds.
Not Captain Hook.
Can anyone think he's Blackbeard?
Did you watch
Not
Pam?
Blackbeard.
What? That's a
Wait,
great segue.
no, he was Captain Hook. No, he's
He was
Blackbeard.
Wait, want to know why? Because I just watched that movie.
Oh,
Really?
no.
I
Why'd you
just
do that?
watched it on
Why?
Sunday on the plane.
Thank God for Dan from The Creatures was talking about it when we're at Let's Play
Yeah, he
Live.
showed us a
Oh,
video.
really?
He's like, yeah, there's this really random part where they're singing
Oh, yeah.
Smells Like
Nirvana,
Teen
It Smells Like
Spirit.
Teen Spirit. And like Hugh Jackman comes out and he's really into it, like more than anyone else.
He's the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
But God,
He's the gayest straight
it's like,
man.
It's one of those things
Thank God for
where like you're just confused. Like the worst thing a movie can do is be dumb but also confuse you. That's kind of what Suicide Squad did. It's like you can be Fast and Furious and you can be dumb,
Yeah.
but you should know what's happening at all times. You should know where all the characters are and you should know why they're doing what they're doing because it's dumb and it's simple and it's dumb. Pan is dumb and then you're confused, and I think that's the most frustrating viewer
Why
experience.
did you watch
Also, why is
I
it
was on a
Blackbeard and
plane.
not Hook?
Watch
I told
another
him,
movie?
I told him
Hook
to watch
is
The
in the movie.
Lobster, and then I see him putting on Pan.
Which one did you
what-
tell me about?
Lobster.
Lobster's supposed to be
yeah.
well reviewed.
Yeah, well, you were watching it, so I figured one of us is watching The Lobster, one of us should watch Pan. The best thing, the
We're
best
the
thing about
twins
it,
from Hellboy
wrong.
2.
the best thing about Pan is that it starts with narration at the beginning, which I guess they wanted to get a new Pan franchise going.
Yeah,
and they're
Cinematic
like,
Universe.
sometimes the
Panchise.
only way to know what a story is truly about is to go to the beginning, right? So they tell you about how Pan became Pan.
Sure.
Except by the end, I was more confused than if I had just watched Peter Pan.
Okay.
Like, so clearly they were wrong. Clearly, you didn't need this information because now I'm just more confused about what exactly Peter Pan is.
So they didn't hook you.
Also, Hook is in it.
Who plays Hook?
Garrett Hedlund,
Who?
Oh, the guy from Tron.
the guy from Tron.
Yeah.
Who?
He's
Tron
Captain
Legacy.
Hook,
Which guy from Tron?
Tron Legacy.
the main dude,
Oh.
and
Sadly, he's the most forgetful actor of all
Yeah.
time.
he does he sounds like McCree the whole movie.
What?
It doesn't make any they don't bother to explain it. For some reason he's a cowboy. But they call him Captain James Hook, and he sharpens something with the hook at one point, and they go, "Oh!" And the whole movie, Pan and him are friends, and they're working together. Yeah, it's confusing. It's really strange. They're working together, and the whole movie you're like, oh, okay, this is a story about their falling out. This is how the greatest rivalry of all time happens.
Sure.
They end the movie as friends. Nothing comes between
Well, it's
them.
because the sequel was supposed to be Pan versus Hook.
Yeah, I
gonna
think
be
that's
like
what they were going for.
Charles Xavier Magneto.
Yeah.
Except that at the end of the first X-Men First Class,
show.
you see where they've fallen apart.
Remember
Because
when
that's the
they-
most interesting part.
Remember when they tried that with all the monsters and they were like, I Frankenstein, Dracula Untold, Wolfman, all
Was
the
there a
same
wolf? Was
universe.
there a wolf?
I Frankenstein. Wait, you already listed that.
It would have made more sense though if there was a Pan movie and then there was a Hook movie, and they didn't interact at all, but you knew that they were going to make it. This is just a movie where the whole time they're just best friends, and then they go, but it'd be real wacky if we were enemies. Like they literally have these conversations with each other, which no one is. Adam and I don't go, man, we're friends now.
Yeah.
But could you imagine if we were enemies?
Yeah.
Like no one talks that way.
Why would you inflict this punishment upon yourself?
You don't know that it's. I mean,
Yeah, you do. Everybody
that
said
it
it was
didn't do-
bad. All the
Visually-
reviews were bad.
It's always good to make your own opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
obviously.
maybe someone could be wrong.
But yeah,
There are lots of movies I don't need to see.
It is confusing
That's
because
one
it's
of them.
not a musical, but there's a musical sequence where there's a bunch of slaves,
Jesus.
slaves in a pit singing "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and then later on they're about to execute like children,
What?
and they're singing Blitzkrieg Bop.
What? Okay.
Those are the only two musical numbers in the whole thing.
Wow.
And it's not like they established that this guy went. While I was watching, I was like, oh, maybe Blackbeard's a time traveler. like
You were
maybe.
trying to retcon it.
I was trying to figure out like why you would put something like this
Look
in a
at that
movie.
Pan trailer.
Yeah, let's get that Pan
it's
trailer
always
up here.
it's great because that reminded me of Moulin Rouge when there's just like a little bit where they use "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's kind of interesting. Like I don't think Kurt Cobain would have a problem with that, but I feel like with Pan, I wish I had the power of resurrection, so I could just be like, watch, look what they're doing with your works, and he goes, cool, and blows his brains out
In
again.
Moulin Rouge, it like makes sense
Kind of.
because it's like a world filled
yeah.
with songs
They
Musical
do all these
medley.
medleys. That,
and the way
Is he
they.
named after a pan flute? Is that what Peter Pan is named that?
Yes, his
I
last.
never ever
he played
connected
flute.
those
His
two.
name is Peter,
But he
they
doesn't
give
play
him-
a pan flute in the Disney. Like he plays an actual
So
flute, right?
Hook takes him to Neverland first.
He is an orphan. He's
Okay.
kidnapped because
Boy, that
there's an
CG does look
orphan.
great.
There's an orphanage in London
Okay.
that for some reason
So he's the original Lost Boy.
sells. Nope, he's not the original. There's a ton of children there by the time he arrives.
Oh,
And
so
so-
Hook's a child molester. I mean, that's the equivalent of a rape van.
So they use.
There's
there it
that-
is.
that's the
Blackbeard steals children from an orphanage in London.
Wolverine, everybody.
That the owner of the orphanage is
Glad
in
he's not
on.
Wolverine.
And
I could eat fried chicken before I had this film.
and then he
there he
uses
was. That
the
was
child.
Hook.
That's Hook. That's Captain Hook. But the whole time he's like, "Hey there, Pan. What are you thinking we're gonna do in this situation here?"
Is that Mara Rooney?
Yes, it is.
Who?
She plays Princess Tiger
She's
Lily.
that girl with dragon tattoo.
Oh, okay.
But Captain Hook is trying to search for
Oy.
pixie dust.
Cocaine.
But he
can
killed
fly?
all the pixies. No, that's the thing. You're like, oh, maybe he needs pixie dust because he wants to fly. No,
Nah.
they already have flying stuff. They have flying stuff all everywhere the ships go, or they're always flying.
What do they need it for then?
Yeah, does he want to?
They
put
never say.
I was like,
They
okay.
never say.
So to your
Is
point,
it to keep the boats floating?
No, it's not.
well, so it doesn't have to literally do that. But to your point, where it's like, let's take the same themes and reinvent them. Maybe some way it could spiritually represent freedom or escape.
This is the opposite.
Ah.
They completely missed the mark on what Peter Pan is and thematically what it stood for and the things that make it resonate with people. They eliminated all of those things. They took the names of characters and then just threw them into this.
Cool.
Hugh Jackman, very charismatic for as stupid as he looks, thrilling in every single scene that he's in, but I have no idea what he wants or what he's doing for the whole movie.
The effects are terrible.
Yeah, when people just jump into CGI, I don't care.
Oh yeah, and the Enchantress is in it.
Who?
From Suicide Squad.
I was gonna say, who?
She's in it, but she plays double mermaids.
Double mermaids.
Yes, she plays double mermaids.
I'm so glad I never saw this movie.
There's a great moment where they're trying to do backstory of the world, but like they don't know how. So then Mara Rooney or whatever, she's like, sometimes the mermaids put memories in the water. And then she puts his head underwater and then it just like show like the story of the world.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I took your recommendation and watched Nice Guys on the plane.
Oh, yeah.
Or watched it over the weekend. Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I recommended that to you guys like months ago.
But we don't have.
And I recommended it to James upon Bruce's
it's not-
recommendation.
Well, you recommended it when it was in theaters, and it
Yeah.
was only in there for about like
And then
2
it was
weeks.
gone.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
so I
was
didn't.
trying to tell you it was a good movie.
But it just recently came out on.
It was like
Blu-ray and
Hardcore Henry. I
rental.
saw Hardcore Henry, I think the same weekend, and I was like,
it was
I was
gone.
like, go see these movies. They're good.
There's a reason we couldn't
missed
see
it.
Nice Guys. I don't
It's
know what it was.
it's because it went out of theaters almost immediately.
You can only see Angry Birds so many times.
Adam kept
Because
going,
well, you go to the
one
movie,
for Angry Birds.
Well, you go to the movie theater like 2 for night. Angry Birds is still in theaters.
Look at those
Nice,
eyebrows.
angry,
Honey,
nice,
how much
angry.
money's in the bank? That's enough for 3 more Angry Birds.
How many more Angry Birds can we make?
What is this?
This is
I was
Mirror Mask.
expecting you to bring this up.
Oh,
Muppet
Mirror.
Treasure Island.
So Jess has a list right now. She's like made a list of all these TV shows and movies I want to watch. Like she has cool stuff in there like Samurai Jack and a couple other things. But then she also
the rest is shit.
She said like she's like I added Mirror Mask because I heard it was like a sequel to Labyrinth, like a spiritual sequel because Neil Gaiman's like super hard on for Labyrinth. This movie's awful.
Uh-oh.
It's really really bad.
Sorry, Jess.
Yeah, I was.
No. She didn't like it
Labyrinth
either.
isn't that great either.
Yeah,
We'll
but if
throw
you
it
grew
out
up
there.
watching it and it still, I mean, the practical effects are amazing.
Yeah.
And David Bowie's
I
a
don't know about
fucking treasure.
amazing. I'm not going to
Yeah,
say they're
David Bowie's-
amazing.
Dark
David Bowie's
Practical
Crystal
effects and-
is
I'm
amazing.
not gonna say they're-
practical
Balls?
effects.
I'm not
Balls
going to
are
say
great.
they're the.
They just hired a dude who can do
trick.
ball.
Yeah, but that's a dude with David Bowie's giant nutsack on his head under Bowie doing this, and it's all practical. It's good.
He got paid.
I was going to say,
Yeah, that doesn't-
there are
that's not
circus
that
performers
impressive.
that
Too
do
bad.
that. That's not a problem.
but the way in which they did it, though,
I
is
think
like, it's
I think
smart.
the matte paintings are
held
pretty
his hand up in
seamless
front of
in Labyrinth, and
Yeah.
I think like the puppeteering is like some of the best.
Yes, I think Dark Crystal.
It's very
sort of
imaginative.
Dominates Labyrinth in terms of effects, though.
What,
Oh, we got
Mask?
hot
I think
opinions.
Dark
Dark
Crystal.
Crystal.
I think
Oh,
that-
I've actually never seen Dark Crystal.
Oh,
I wanted you
I'd
guys
bring
to
it
say
for you.
contentious things about the PlayStation 4, but I guess we'll
Well,
talk
I
about
can't-
Dark Crystal.
Oh,
I
instead.
can't say
Sorry.
anything
No,
about
it's okay, I'm just-
I can't say anything about a piece of plastic that plays video games.
Damn it, that's what this podcast is for.
Okay.
There was something I saw in the document, though. You brought up that Allison Road is back.
That's back. So there were originally
we were
two
talking
developers.
about movies. I thought we moved to movie chat.
Damn it.
We have to do a movie chat podcast.
We do have
that's
a
a
movie
whole
week.
other
Yeah, we
podcast.
do have to do a movie podcast soon. We should save all this. Even though
we-
you just talked about Pan.
Yeah.
We should all watch Pan.
No!
We could do
Stop
an
it.
hour
Stop it.
easy breaking
Stop
down
it. We're not
Pan.
talking about pain.
I was actually thinking, okay, so for the movie podcast, our homework should be Son of the Mask and Finding Neverland. Fuck, that's the rated
No, it should
movie.
be the Master of Disguise.
Never Ending Story 3.
Never Ending Story 3. That's the
Yeah.
one. Man, I can't wait to see that. That fucking Valkyrie, like, "Oh, where are we?"
Well,
I don't
It
remember.
sounds like Captain Hook.
I mean, I love watching terrible films. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't.
Boy, there are a lot of podcasts where nerds just watch bad movies and laugh.
I
at them.
don't.
Which is
I
not a
don't-
bad
Yeah.
I like that it's called Escape from Fantasia, as if you want to leave.
thing. Yeah.
You
like
do. It's always a nightmare there. Every single time you go to Fantasia, something's going wrong. So, but a beautiful place to escape from your everyday life. Well, I almost died today. All right? Some guy on a horse almost killed me with a spear.
Pretty sure I've talked about this before, but I do remember being very young watching the original Never Ending Story, and there's a part where they attempt to do forced perspective because there's like small people, and I remember being a kid and be like, why are they standing so close to the camera? Like, it's confusing. And I'm sure
when
the
you-
director was like, no, you're wrong.
It's when Atreyu meets the beard guy, right? Who turns invisible, I think, in this
know.
trailer, doesn't he?
I'm just happy for Jack Black getting work.
Yeah.
Well, this was like when his star was born, basically.
Someday I'm gonna do Goosebumps.
I just love that weird crab thing just touching somebody.
It's just a man with an arm and a puppet going like this.
There was a beautiful,
It's just as impressive as Labyrinth.
Yeah, there is a beautiful time when CGI really wasn't enough, so they still had puppets. but there was a lot of shitty puppets.
Well, you guys know I've been listening. I've been listening to Carrie Ellis' memoirs of the Princess Bride, and there was a part where Rob Reiner was just talking about like puppet use, practical effects use, and how like that was all they had available. They filmed that movie with like a $15 or $16 million budget at the time, which is like nothing. Not adjusted for inflation, mind you, but still. But like that movie would not be as good or as charming if they just packed it with CG. It'd be a complete like crap fest, and nobody's interested in.
You're totally right.
I really, really miss movies with practical
but see,
puppets.
that movie, if they were so ambitious, they might have scaled back because like, well, we can't do this ridiculous, crazy puppet because it's not going to look real. So they're like, let's do something instead that will look semi-real on camera.
That's what I liked about Force Awakens was they seemed to use CGI where it helped rather because like they go to like a bar and it'd be like a robot just like and I'm like that's great, it looks real, that's fantastic instead of like
those are real costumes.
Yeah.
The rodent of unusual size has a little person in it.
Poor.
That Carrie Ellis is battling with, and at one point he's
thrown
just
into a
fighting with
fire.
an empty puppet.
It looks
too.
really, it looks funny though.
But they did all their own like stunts for that movie. Like they're talking about how like they would get
Roll down that hill.
they would get the stunt actors to do it
I used
first.
to do it as a kid for fun.
Yeah, same
They'd be like, you test the stunt actor, and then show us how to do it, and then we'll do it. So like Carrie Ellis when he dives into the sand pit.
Maybe they should have called him stunt actor, probably by his real name.
When he dives into that sand pit, there's a wooden trap door where like if they don't open it at the right time, he would have like
Hit himself.
got it like concussed, broke
really
his
hurt
neck or
himself.
whatever, not be the Carrie Ellis that we know and love today.
Could have been a better
What's
one.
he done recently besides Saw?
I was gonna say no in love.
He was in The Bard's Tale as the Bard.
Who?
There you go, suck it, Adam.
We gotta stop.
Oh, the game.
we're over.
Anyway, I'm sorry. It's a
We gotta
very
save all this for the movie podcast,
it's a
guys.
very enjoyable
We got to save it
memoir.
for the movie podcast. Also, you got to save some of this vim and vigor for the Dudes Who Post show, which is coming up. That's where we look at fan art, we talk about comments, we condescend to our audience routinely, non-stoply.
I feel like we're nice.
Nope.
That's condescending.
So that for live viewers, that comes up right next. If you're not a live viewer and you're watching this on YouTube or maybe on iTunes or something like that, all of the post shows go up on our website, fun.house. It does require a first sponsorship, but we would encourage you to get that because that means we get paid, or rather we get a budget. We get paid either way. So, but you should still do it because it's good. It's a good time for everybody. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. If you like this show, tell a friend. Maybe give us a little rating on iTunes, and stay tuned for the
At
post show.
the end, Peter Pan goes back and he steals the orphans that got away.
Omar, just cut.
Wait.
They're gonna keep.
I'm a robot climbing a giant mushroom tip. It's
Ew.
great. What?
Hold X. You got to scan that shit.
I'm swinging
the
on
tip,
this.
Lawrence.
Press
Giant
X.
tip.
Press X on that tip. There you go.
I'm pressing X.
So
did
the latest.
Funhaus.
That's funny. The latest scandal involving No Man's Sky is the complete and utter lack of any kind of multiplayer.
Okay.
So
Did
there
they
was
promise that?
sort of, and that's where it gets tricky, and also probably what we could tie into the discussion about hype and games